Hello and welcome to another Bearded Geek toy review. In today's episode we're looking at two very different versions of Batman's villain, the Riddler. Riddle me this. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the channel, and as I said in the introduction, in this video we're looking at two uniquely different versions of the same comic book character. Now, obviously, you know, the Batman comics were first published way back in 1939 in Detective Comics 27 when Batman made his debut. Created by Bob Kane and also created by Bill Finger, who was responsible also for the creation of villains such as the Joker and the Riddler as well, who I think made his debut in 1948. Now, Bill Finger is probably a name that you may not have heard of. Everyone's heard of Bob Kane, and that he was credited as the creator of Batman, and he managed to wingle to get his name on every single Batman comic, so that it always said created by Bob Kane. Bill Finger was, let's put it plainly, shafted by Bob Kane. If it wasn't for Bill Finger, you wouldn't have the distinctive cape and cowl look of Batman. You wouldn't have the bat signal, you wouldn't have the Batmobile, you wouldn't have the Joker, you wouldn't have Robin, you wouldn't have the Riddler, you wouldn't have the things that we associate with Batman today, because Bill Finger sadly died without seeing much wealth from the creation of Batman. In 1974, you know, and he worked in the comic book industry for all his life. He was effectively a ghostwriter. He wrote a lot of the things that are credited to Bob Kane, certainly when it comes to the Batman stories, and also a lot of stuff that was the Green Lantern, the original Green Lantern comic strips from the 1940s as well. It wasn't until 2015 that finally Warner Brothers and DC Comics decided, after some, you know, haranguing and I think the threat of a lawsuit from Bill Finger's estate, to posthumously credit him with the co-creation of Batman. And quite rightly so, because, let's face it, Bob Kane, even himself, in a famous unpublished audio interview from the 1980s, said that basically 50 to 75% of what we understand as Batman wasn't created by him. It was created by Bill Finger, and he just took all the credit. So there you go. Anyway, the Riddler. These are quite different takes on the character. I will say that I am very, very familiar with the Batman 1966 TV series version, played by Frank Gorshin, brilliantly in that TV series. And that was very much based on how he appeared in the comic books at the time. And also he has a unique kind of like question mark green suit with the bowler hat, which was another iconic look. And then we fast forward to 2021 with Matt Reeves' The Batman. Or was it 2022? No, it came out 2022, sorry. It was meant to come out in 2021, but got delayed due to the pandemic. And we have Paul Dano's wildly different take on the character of the Riddler. Wonderfully played. He did a fantastic job. Matt Reeves as well wrote and directed the film. And yeah, it's kind of like taking the same essence of the puzzler elements of the character, but putting him into what I would describe as, and I described the film as this when I first saw it, it is Batman meets Seven. It's a serial killer detective movie, but with Batman in it, and they made the Riddler effectively the Zodiac-inspired serial killer. If you don't know who Zodiac was, he was the famous serial killer from the 1970s that the FBI never managed to catch. Great film by David Fincher, which obviously tells the story if you ever want to check that out. But yeah, so these are two wildly different takes on the character, which we'll delve into as we open each box. But first of all, we're going to look at the 1966 TV series version of the character.
Batman's scalp. I wonder what went awry.
You went awry, Riddler, years ago. Don't you know that crime never pays? Hey, hey, hey! Holy smoke!
Surrender, you rat! What's that?
Holy showcase! A sheet of bulletproof glass!
Now, first of all, he comes in the packaging for the Batman Classic TV series range, which has the classic TV series Batman logo, DC Comics at the top, McFarlane Toys, 12+, and a kind of like a plastic bubble there that shows the figure. Very much kind of like inspired by the original Star Wars kind of card backs. On the back, we haven't really got much details. We've basically got a closer up picture of the actual figure itself. And also that you can get the Batmobile and Batman and Robin and the Batcave as well. All sold separately, as it says there. So not much really to the packaging. Now, I don't keep these cards. They're one of the bits of packaging that I don't actually keep. So I have no qualms about actually opening it up like this on camera, because I'm not going to keep this packaging. So let's pop the old character out. Oh, he's ridged in there something special. And here he is. This is Frank Gorshin as the Riddler, as he appeared in the famous 1960s TV series, which I absolutely loved as a kid. It still used to get repeated when I was a kid. I remember watching it very much Saturday mornings in the early 80s, before like stuff like Tiz was on. And then famously, when TV AM, which was the ITV's breakfast channel, went on strike in the mid-80s, they had nothing really to fill the time slot. And they had a technician strike, which meant like cameraman and journalist and stuff went on strike. So they effectively filled the time with Batman repeats, which were a huge hit, and ratings absolutely apparently doubled. And then when obviously the strike was over and the journalists and the technicians like came back to do their jobs, viewers were up in arms and said, well, we want Batman back. We're not interested in watching the news in the morning. So they actually scheduled back in episodes of Batman amongst all the news stories, which is quite bizarre. It does come with two accessories, which they've actually started to do away with now for the latter waves. So this Riddler, I think, was in wave 2. Oh, and he's just fallen down. So, yeah, these are in the style of the wham, pow, kapow, bam, kind of like visual effects that used to happen in the fight scenes that they used to like superimpose on the screen, you know, to make it like a comic book. They're good, but I don't kind of like really see the point of it, because you kind of like, you're putting that on there. Really, if you're going to have him fighting, it should be the other way, or it should be more pointed that way so you can have him punching. But yeah, you know, it's a nice little accessory, but I'm not really I don't display these like that. I know the Batman came with some Adam West figure, but again, they just they're in a box somewhere. But here is the Frank Gorshin figure. Now, bizarrely, these are in the 6-inch scale and not the 7-inch scale from like the DC Multiverse. And for some reason, like some other DC Multiverse figures, this guy is suffering from a bit of the side eye. So he's great when you point him that way. And it's a lovely likeness of actor Frank Gorshin. Really does look like him. But you put him dead on and he's looking that way. I really don't know what's going on. I mean, Batman is kind of like looking straight on, you know, and the Joker isn't. So I might have to just pose him slightly with his head moved in a particular way, but he's in his iconic green leotard with the big question mark on the front. Nice detailing of the question marks down the side of the leggings. And there, I would have liked him to be in his question mark green suit with the bowler hat, because that's quite an iconic look. But, you know, he appeared in this quite often as well. So I do believe you can get a non-masked version as well. And I'm not too sure if they've done a black and white version. I know they've done some black and white versions of some of the figures, which is bizarre because it was a TV series that was filmed in colour. But I presume not everybody had a colour television back in the 60s. So yeah, you know, not as much articulation as the DC Multiverse figures, you know, fairly basic when you consider it compared to them. So you haven't got the 22 points of articulation. But yeah, it's a great little figure. And I'm still on the lookout for Robin and the Joker. And I do want to get the Penguin and then Catwoman. And then for me, that's probably it for the wave. Those are the 6 iconic characters. Certainly from the Batman 1966 movie anyway, which I absolutely love, as well as the TV series. So there you have it. There's Frank Gorshin as the Riddler, the more like kind of like comic book inspired Riddler. Certainly miles away from Paul Dano's portrayal of the Riddler, which we will look at next.
Police! Hands up!
Haven't a clue. Let's play a game. Just me and you.
If you are justice,
The killer left this for the Batman.
please do not lie.
Why is he writing to you?
What is the price for your blind eye? Hello, people of Gotham. This is the Riddler speaking. I will kill again and again. It can be cruel, poetic, or blind. Till the truth.
And here we have the version of the Riddler as seen in the 2022 Matt Reeves written and directed version of the Batman. Now, that Batman standalone film was originally planned with Ben Affleck to be written and directed by him. And apparently, if you believe the rumours, a lot of Hollywood insiders said his Batman script was probably one of the best unproduced scripts that has ever been seen in Hollywood. It was like effectively Batman versus Deathstroke. But Ben Affleck had such a bad experience on the reshoots with Joss Whedon on Justice League that he decided to walk away from the character, although he does appear in The Flash. And has actually recently said that he's now comfortable playing with the character and would not rule out returning as Batfleck at some point in the future, which, you know, perhaps if the rumours are true, we might eventually get a Batman movie starring Ben Affleck. I called him Batfleck there again. Apparently he hates Batfleck. Ben Affleck in the future. But this version of the Riddler went up against Robert Pattinson's version of Batman, which I do not have. But I did pick this up from Star Action Figures from the knockdown price. It's currently in their sale for $11.95, so cheaper than the £20 that they usually charge. Nice image of the figure on the back, and pictures of the other characters that you can get in the wave. So you have Catwoman there, you have the Penguin, brilliantly played by Colin Farrell. Under all that makeup, he was virtually unrecognisable. You've got Robert Pattinson as Batman himself, and then you've got Batman on his bat cycle. They actually did a bat cycle as well for the Batman, as well as the bat cycle that they've done for the Flash, which I have reviewed recently. So usual standard packaging, 22 points of articulation. This one doesn't have the QR code on for the DC Comics website, which they've only just started to add on, but does have the logo for the Batman movie. But let's have a look inside. So usual inner packaging with all the DC comic book covers from the past and the usual accessories. It has the DC Comics stand for you to put the figure on, and the aforementioned trading card with the image from the back of the packaging, and then a nice little bio on there if you want to pause it. One thing that I did feel a little bit puzzled at was the fact that they changed his name to Edward Nashton instead of Edward Nigma, because Enigma, you know, was obviously the pun for the Riddler. But there you go. Perhaps they thought that was just a little bit too on the nose. Who knows? And here we have the Riddler out of the packaging. It comes with another accessory, which is this carpet kind of like tucker in tool, which he actually uses as a murder weapon at the beginning of the film in quite a disturbing scene, which obviously, like, you know, kind of like lays out its like cards on the table to like, this is not going to be your average Batman movie. You know, I really did like this film. I loved the noir aspects of it, the fact that we probably saw Batman being a proper detective, which you get elements of in Batman vs Superman and also in The Dark Knight as well. Christian Bale does a bit of investigation work, but not to the extent that Batman does in this film. It's a proper kind of like I said, serial killer mystery detective movie. You know, that just happens to have the Batman characters in it. But, you know, Batman is labelled the world's greatest detective. You know, he appeared in Detective Comics. So it's good to actually see that aspect of his character being used. This is a bizarre figure. I mean, it's a bizarre kind of costuming for the Riddler. Obviously, it takes away like the aspect of that character, which they carried on for the 1995 version that played by Jim Carrey in Batman Forever. They could have had him in the suit with the pin, with the question marks all over it, but they've gone for a real proper, very real life aspect of it. He has the question mark on the front, but it's just like a normal jacket. It's normal flak trousers. One thing I did notice, boots. This particular foot is very wobbly, which is unusual because usually McFarlane figures are quite stiff when you get them out of the packaging. The rubber material used, the soft rubber material for the jacket, gives it a nice kind of contrast, but it's the sheer detail on the face. Just look at that. You've got the eyes under the glasses, you've got the mask that he wears, but the detail that they put on the back of it is obviously because he, in order to not drop any like hairs or DNA at the crime scenes that he you know, implements, he covers his face completely in like what we call in the UK cling film, what they call saran wrap in America. So just that kind of detail there. So you've got the actual figure likeness probably under there. I don't know whether they did the full likeness of Paul Dano, but certainly you've got his eyes there. And then they put this kind of like plastic sheen over it, which obviously mimics the saran wrap cling film. And then the main mask over it with the glasses over it, the mask. But yeah, it's a creepy image, and it really is a unique take on the character. So whether or not when, you know, Matt Reeves does the sequel, and I believe he's got a trilogy planned, the rumour is Clayface and Two-Face are going to be the main villains for the Batman Part 2. But if the Riddler ever returned, it'd be interesting to see if he then adopts like the more traditional kind of like suit with the question marks on it, or whether they keep to this real kind of life aesthetic that they've got here. But yeah, this is a kind of like, I mean, the detail on it is there. Obviously it's just lacking that superhero vibe, but it is so different, but it's so faithful to how it appears in the movie. So I'll put him on there because he has a peg hole. Yeah, even with that wobbly foot, he's standing up very, very well. And we'll just bring in 2 other Batmen for him to be next to. So we've got Ben Affleck's Batman from Zack Snyder's Justice League, and we've got Michael Keaton's Batman here from the Flash movie. Both reviews which I've done, which are in the playlist for the DC Multiverse figures. So it's great to add this to the collection. I just think it's a unique take on the character. And I wasn't quite enamoured with him at first, but I just think for a display piece, that looks really cool, really creepy. And I just absolutely love the film. It's a shame we didn't get the Batman version with Ben Affleck, but, you know, who knows? Won't rule it out in the past. Or in the future even. But yeah, it's a shame he doesn't come with some duct tape, which you can have him like holding. But yeah, just the look at those eyes staring out at you. Quite creepy, really. But there you have it, 2 unique takes on the character of the Riddler. You've got the very much comic book authentic version from the 1966 TV series, and then you've got this wildly unique serial killer style take from the 2022 movie The Batman. Great figures. If you see them about, certainly this one is well worth it for the price that he is on Star Action Figures. This one normally retails for about £17 and is still in stock in a lot of online retailers. So search him out. I think I actually got him for about £9 off Comics and Cocktails, I believe. But I don't think he's that price anymore because I have had him for quite some time. But yeah, 2 unique takes on the character of the Riddler there for you. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, please leave us a like. It really does help out the channel. And also don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell for brand new videos. In the meantime, stay safe, take care, and we'll see you very, very soon on Bearded Geek Toy Reviews. See you now.
Our city will finally! But when it's denied, it's violence you may find. We are masked. Who are you? I'm just an instrument. Here to unmask the truth about this cesspool we call a city.
You showed me all it takes is a little focused violence.
They will go boom.
I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, please do